Hello, this is Zagan MTG, and I'm here to play another round of Izzet Counterburn in the competitive queue, just the competitive ladder of MTG Arena, and really big fan of this deck, and hopefully we get a good matchup here for you. This is currently my favorite standard deck. I think Izzet is an absolute powerhouse. I just feel like if I can drop it and have counter backup, that it's nigh impossible for me to lose a game. But let's see what we're going up against here and what my starting hand looks like. Alright, this is a very land-heavy hand. Hitting your land drops is the most important thing that this deck can do, though. As long as our opponent doesn't have too fast of a start, I think I should be able to get there. He's got the tap land. Alright, our opponent drops a Watery Grave, so we're likely in some sort of control matchup here. Possibly the Disinformation Campaign deck list, which I actually really like my odds against that deck. And as we're against control, having a ton of lands in my opening hand looks a lot better. This Expansion Explosion is really a standout card against these control decks. Essentially, a lot of times it's just acting like the expansion side of it is actually just acting like a counterspell for their counterspells. Now we do see this Disinformation Campaign here, which I'll just go ahead and throw away a mountain. I have enough land that I'm not losing a whole ton out of this, but since our opponent has blinked first and played an actual card first, I'm going to go ahead and just get this route out here and have him forced to be proactive. I think I'm going to take this Essence Scatter because a lot of times they're going to be playing either the Doom Whisperer or the Dream Eater. And Eldest Reborn is a good drop for them here. Eldest Reborn is definitely a difficult card to deal with in this deck. Of course, not impossible. I'm a little afraid to throw the Niv-Mizzet out here right now just because I don't want him to reanimate our Niv-Mizzet. And now our Essence Scatter is looking very good here. Okay, he has Grixis though, so we should have assumed that Nicol Bolas is on his side. Alright. He doesn't really have any answers in the yard. And I would like to play the Niv-Mizzet here, but obviously I'm short of red. At this point, we're either going to be seeing the Rao come up or the Niv-Mizzet, and yeah, the Rao makes a lot more sense. Of course, Rao's not nearly as scary as the Niv-Mizzet would be if it resolved, especially when he doesn't have really anything to make his minus ability worth it. One of the best ways to get rid of a Niv-Mizzet is with the Rao, so the fact that he doesn't have 5 things in his yard yet, at least, makes me a little bit less afraid of it. I will say, though, having the blink of an eye in my main board makes the Eldest Reborn significantly less scary, because when it finals out and has the reanimation, it gives me something just to I can just bounce the card back to my hand. Now, I did not counter the Disinformation campaign here because really it's just becoming a mana sink at this point. Until the Row's really threatening to go off, I'm not too afraid of him just drawing a few extra cards. This deck looks to be much more of a tap-out control than an actual counterspell control deck. So at this point I'm going to go ahead and expansion, copying this Thought Eraser just to see what he's got going on. Expansion really is one of the best cards in the control mirror, which is why I'm loving playing this red-black. Yeah, and as we see here, there's not a whole ton he's got going on. I think I just want to go ahead and get rid of this Notion Rain. And I'll gladly see that on top. And I'll ionize this Thought Erasure as well. It's looking like he has it here. I'm going to just go ahead and concede. He's going to... I don't have any way to deal with this when he untaps and can make this Nicol Bolas. So I'll just go ahead and move on to sideboarding. Versus these control decks, I really like to have the Legion War Boss brought in. Gives me the opportunity to really just go under them. And the lightning strikes become significantly less useful. I will say I've not really played against this deck all too much, but I'm just going to kind of board how I would normally board for the control matchups, which is just bring in the negates. I will keep in the Essence Scatter since it does seem like he's got that Nicol Bolas plan, which is going to be rough to deal with. I think I might actually be okay with go ahead and cutting down a Niv and just bringing in 2 Star of Extinction if he's going to try to be reanimating stuff and trying to go off with the Nicol Bolas here. I've never played against this deck, honestly, so I'm not entirely sure that my boarding plan is correct, but this is just kind of a baseline of what I would do in a similar situation, I guess. I'm going to go ahead and keep this one just because I have the Legion War Boss. He's probably boarded out a lot of the stuff that can deal with that, so if I can get under him, I can actually possibly end this game real quick. And the land is... Hopefully we can end this one quick. Top. Radical Idea. Hopefully we can avoid a counter here. Okay. At this point I do feel pretty comfortable that I have this game. As you can see, the power of Legion War Boss. Just swinging for 1 the turn it comes down, 5 the second after. Just allowing me to stay untapped. Even if he has something like the Eldest Reborn, I can just have a token to get away with it now. See, now he spent 4 mana just leaving 3 power on the board here. I don't love having to tap out on his turn right here, but I can just get rid of this and still keep swinging in, so that's what I'll have to do. We have him on roughly a turn 4 o'clock now, at least. And like I said, I think Disinformation Campaign looks a lot better on paper than it actually is playing it out. Because he's just tapping out so much to have a lot of cards in hand but not really do anything to further his game state. I did pitch the island there as opposed to the steam vents just because even if I'm paying 2 life to make it come in untapped later, just having the life, like the choice later on, is going to matter a lot more. And this should be enough to get there. Let's go to game 3. Alright, knowing a little bit more about his deck now, I think I can definitely am okay with just losing all of the shocks, throwing in the crackling drakes, which it's a card I don't like in the main deck, but I do like being able to put pressure on and keep card advantage. I do think I'll go ahead and go back up to 2 Blink in the Eye as well. Blink of an Eye, just so I can bounce back my things that are Eldest Reborn and possibly just bounce back. We saw the big blue finisher that he threw there as well. Against some decks, I will consider switching out, uh, going down on the War Boss and up on Electrostatic Field, just because they're usually boarding differently. But I think that I would rather even just have a 1/1 token swinging in if the War Boss is killed immediately in this matchup. This hand's this hand's not ideal, but I do like having the Radical Idea. Helps it out quite a lot. And that makes it look significantly better even so. Looks like our opponent is stalled out on black, so we might not be getting Thought Erasured early on, which is a very nice sign in this deck as well, in this matchup. I am okay with just throwing this Legion War Boss out there to get countered if he has it, which it looks like he does not, so hopefully our opponent just doesn't hit his black mana and we can just take this win away quite easily. If you're playing Arena, make sure you're clicking these individually when you're attacking with Legion War Boss. Usually we would click all attacks. Because the one token's just attacking automatically, it'll just mess up your click memory. I'm perfectly content just sitting back with this counter up until the end. And yeah, as you can see, that Legion War Boss just took the game away on its own. Hopefully you like the deck, and if you have any questions, go ahead and throw them in the comments. If you want to see more, let me know. Thanks.